Okay, today on the podcast, I'm joined by another book, my fourth book of the series. It's Mr. Peter Cassidy. How are you doing, sir?
How are you getting on? Thanks very much for having me on the podcast.
No problem. You're number 4 now. We'll get through the entire cast now eventually.
That's it. You got Martin on, Owen on, and Stephen Kelly, Cowboy on before.
Yeah.
Very good. Good stuff.
Before you were in the Hardy books, did you do anything in acting, or what was your background prior to that?
I was on Crime Call a few times, but it wasn't acting. No, I'm only joking. No. I wasn't. I never caught. I was never caught. But No, I never did any acting before that. Probably school. I think I was the egg in Humpty Dumpty in the school nativity play one time. I think that's as far as I got. And then I was one of the 3 wolves or something. And I never told my parents that I was in it. And I made the costume up the day before. And it was just a shite costume. So I never did any acting before. And I suppose I was always a messer in school and everything. But the boys just said it, do I want to be in it? And the rest is history, you know. So it was great. It's great crack.
How did that moment come about? Who approached you about doing it?
Who approached me now? I can't think. I was traveling. I did one of those trips around the world a few years ago, and I came back from India. I told this story before on our podcast, the Dead Hedgehogs. I came back with long hair, bangles, and baggy pants. I think they call them fisherman pants, and I came back and I thought I was shit hot. And you know, when you always come back, the lads come back from traveling to a small town, you soon get grounded back in reality. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you're not shit hot.
What the fuck is he wearing?
Yeah, what the fuck is that playback? Do you know what I mean? So I came back and they took one look at me and they said, you have to be in it. And you think of a character's name. So I thought of a character, French Toast O Toole. And that was the first scene I was in was I think it was the golf course scene where they're picking mushrooms. That was the first scene. And we were kind of making it up as we went, and then it just evolved, you know. So.
And did you enjoy acting, or was it more of just kind of having the crack filming that?
At the start, it was just more having the crack. Yeah, it was just more having the crack. It was kind of like that was the first demo. It was one of the first demos. I think that was the first demo that was on YouTube, and I think there was another one on before that, and you could find it someplace. I think Martin has it on his page, Maloney's Digest. Maybe he doesn't. It's called The Tale of a Hardy Buck, and it was just Martin, Eddie, and Salmon in the car going to visit Buzz, and it was very rough. And I seen that one when I was traveling on a dodgy link in Asia someplace. And I said, this is very funny. This is brilliant. And I said, geez, I'd love to be involved. I think that's how I got involved. I think I messaged them then and I said, I'd love to be involved. And then they said, oh, you'll have to be involved when you come back, you know. So I think that's how I got involved. But it was great crack. It wasn't, you didn't know whether you were playing an extension of yourself, or were you trying to copy the local hard man, or were you trying to be a gypsy or traveler, or you didn't know what you were just trying to mess as best you can, and everybody was in the same boat. We never thought to get on TV or anything, you know, but the perfect storm of people came together at the right time, and we were lucky, you know.
That's another thing. Like, did you ever expect it to be as big as it is? Like,
never expected. And I always think that it's going down. I think it's finished. Then all of a sudden it comes back up again, because then all of a sudden we'd no series, and then it was on Netflix, and then it was no series, and then we made a movie. So I don't know. You never know what'll happen. And a few of the boys are as big now as the Hardy Bucks. Owen Colgan is as big on his own without the Hardy Bucks. The Viper, Chris, is as big without the Hardy Bucks. Us, the 3 Bucks left, and our Dead Hedgehogs podcast. If there's anybody out there, that's a big plug for our podcast.
We're going to do lots of plugs for
it. So people have made a career off the back of it, you know. I'd always reserved about going into acting or comedy. I was always kind of like, I don't know. Growing up in the countryside, I always thought, is it a real job? You know, it's not a real job unless you're sweating really hard, lifting blocks or something, or just shoveling fucking muck or misery. It's not a job unless you're miserable. But lots of people have jobs and they're not miserable. So you could potentially have that job, you know. But so that changed my perception of it, you know.
I think the likes of you guys doing what you do, and say Viper and Eddie and Owen doing all their own thing, helps it to stay alive as well. Like, even though you're all doing different things.
I think so too. That's very true. That's very true. It does keep it alive, because if they do see something funny Owen does, or Martin, or the Viper, or us, maybe they'll be like, "Oh, where them guys? Oh yeah," and they'll check up an old episode, or they'll go back to it to rewatch it. Because there's kids now watching it. I had to go surfing down the road, and there's kids shouting at me, and I'm like, "What age were they when it came out? Like 5? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, so it's brilliant. It's brilliant that people are watching it.
The transition from acting and having the crack into doing live shows with Salmon and Cowboy, how did you find that?
So for Cowboy, only started doing live shows when we started the $3 Left. He did his first. This is amazing. We were talking about this last day. He did his first live show when we did the Vicar Street show with the Hardy Bucks. That was his first debut live show, and everything's been downhill since. But
A baptism of fire.
Well, baptism of fire is right, but such a way to make his debut. Like, so we did a good few live shows with the Hardy Bucks before the $3 Left. For anybody that's watching, we have the spin-off called the $3 Left. It's on Facebook, and we're hoping to do more longer videos. And then we've a podcast called Dead Hesgehogs, which is a random collection of things. But so Cowboy never did stand up before the $3 Left, and he took to it like duck to water. Do you know what I mean? So when we first started doing stand up as through the Hardy Bucks, we didn't realize we kind of jumped the rungs of the normal stand up because we were known, and a lot of people that started on the internet have had that success, which is kind of detriment to your ability to do comedy, because there's a reason people cut their teeth and get all the way up. But all of a sudden we'd kind of been doing big venues, and people expected us to be comedians, which we were just fucking messers like. So the first few live gigs we did, we were just getting drunk and just chatting shite, and it didn't really work. Like, once the novelty wore off of people seeing you, they were like, "What are you going to do now?" Do you know what I mean? So then we kind of came up with doing it as a play, which kind of worked, but you had to rehearse a lot, and some people were in different countries, and that didn't work. So then individually we came up with our own, like maybe 10, 15 minutes. We'd go on to individual stand-up, and I think that worked better, unless if you have the time to do a big long play and rehearse it, and people are in the same country, then it could work. And that's something we might do in the future, Hardy Bucks play like we did in the live shows in Vicar Street. It's a great crack. It was like a Hardy Bucks musical, which Martin wrote it, and it was very funny. It was brilliant. It was great crack.
Do you find it hard to remember stuff on stage? Because I done a little bit of stand-up back in the day, and like my thing was like, I couldn't have a few drinks, even though I'd love to have a few drinks to relax, because if I had a few drinks, I just fucking forget everything. No matter how much like I'd practice, I just know I'd have maybe 10 or 12 bullet points to go through, and I know that if I was drinking, I just fucking forget it. Like, so it was really nerve-wracking for me when I was doing it.
100%, and I'd be the same too. I started off having a few drinks, and it didn't really work at all. Do you know what I mean? And then I started having no drinks at all, and sometimes that didn't work either. There has to be a happy medium. Like, if you had maybe, like, if you normally drink in a pub and you have 1 or 2 pints and you're just casual, that's grand. Like, but I do it both ways. Sometimes I don't drink because I'm driving. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I might have 1 pint, but then you get sucked into the session, and it's dangerous, because then you might have a gig another night and another night and another night before you know what, you're drinking every night. But I know what you mean, but not remembering stuff. But the one thing a guy told me, I said, I missed that joke. The audience don't know you missed that joke. It's only you that knows that they missed the joke. Do you know what I mean? So, because one of the guys was giving out, we were at a gig and projector didn't work, and he kept saying, "Projector isn't working, guys." But the audience didn't know there was going to be a slideshow, So
yeah, it was just some random guy had noticed, did he?
No, it was just one of the guys was like saying, "Oh, there's no projector," but the audience didn't know that we had a projector doing a slideshow. Yeah. But then all of a sudden they realized, "Oh, hang on, there's no projector," But it's all in your own head sometimes as well. Like, you think you're doing a bad show, and some people love it, So,
do you find stand-up harder than acting, having the crack doing the TV show?
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%,
Yeah.
100% harder. But in one way, there's more of an instant gratification. I don't know. It's like watching porn and having sex, I suppose. If that makes any sense. That makes any
Oh,
sense at
those,
all. So I suppose doing the TV stuff is like watching porn, I suppose. And the live show is like having sex. You're going to get
yeah.
fucked one way or another, like.
And
No, I'm joking. But yeah, no, there's an instant gratification from the live stuff because the joke is there. You're on stage. If it goes wrong, it's your own fault. But when you're doing the TV stuff, it's edited, and a lot of the stuff is left on the cutting room floor. A lot of the great jokes are left, and a lot of people say that, and it's an art in itself, editing. And Chris, the Viper that did the editing, was he developed his own style, this kind of rough editing style, and it added to it. You know what I mean? It was kind of like its own character in itself, the whole style of it. And a lot of people have tried to copy it since, but they don't have the same kind of eye that Chris would have.
yeah, I remember when I was in college. Actually, there was a show that came out shortly after you guys, and Eddie was in it actually as well. Martin, the Zombie Bashers. Do you remember seeing that?
Yes,
It was an RT.
yes.
They kind of went down the same kind of road as you guys, but I actually thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, I seen, and the main guy in it was very good, but I never seen him in anything else. He kind of had the wispy hair. Do you remember the main guy? Yeah, he was very funny actually. Yeah. I
And
can't
they
think of his
got,
name now, but
commissioned for a show, and it never aired on RTE, like, which is weird because they won that competition.
it's funny, isn't it? It's funny. Yeah. It's funny how it works.
So,
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
the production company fell through or something.
yeah, possibly.
That could be it.
You guys do a lot of charity work as well, like based around some of your shows as well. Like, and do you want to talk to me about a few things you've done for charity? Your lads have done great things, like.
Yeah. The charity thing. So Stephen Kelly, the lad that plays Cowboy, your listeners and viewers will probably know him, but he did aneurysm there a few years ago, and he nearly died. And I'd be slagging him because he brings it up in every podcast, and I think he's stealing my thunder. I'd be slagging him off. I go, you bring up the fact that you nearly died again, Cowboy, will you?
Yeah.
But when he woke up from the coma, he said he was going to Beaumont Hospital in Dublin, saved his life, and they said that he said that he was going to repay the money for the surgery and the care he got, and he wanted to just give something back. He said he was going to run from Dublin or Mayo to Dublin, and the ambulance route. And I was like, he said to the nurses and doctors, and then a few years later, when he got back on his feet, he kind of, I suppose he forgot about it. And then he said to me, he goes, "Would you do it?" And I said, "Oh yeah, we'll do it, Jeff, the crack, and we'll go slow." I was like, "We might take a week or 2 weeks to do it." He was like, No, 3 days. I was like, "Oh Christ, 3 days of running from." So we did it the other way. We went from Dublin to Mayo. So we decided to run home instead of running to Dublin.
Yeah.
But it was, I can't remember how many kilometers it was, but it was like, I think it was like 4 ultramarathons in 3 days or something. But it was something crazy, and we had a great crew of people, and we raised about 15 or 16,000 for Beaumont, and it was great. It was over the Easter weekend about 2 years ago, I think, 3 years ago, I think. And
I think it was 2018, I think, yeah.
2018, yes, 2018. Yeah. And it was great. It was great crack, but it was a baptism of fire because we'd never done anything like that before. I did a bit of running, and Cowboy, the last few years, he's done a good bit of running. But we never did anything extreme, long distance. We actually went down to a guy called Shane Finn. He's a famous ultra runner in Ireland. He ran across America, ran across Ireland, and we went down to him, and he gave us a bit of coaching, and like everybody we said to, we're going to run for Dublin. They're like, "No, you can't do it. And we said, "Oh, we're going to run from Dublin to Mayo," and he was like, "All right, when is it?" Do you know what I mean? He was the only one that kind of shifted our mentality. Oh wait, maybe we can do it. People have done it before, So we did it nice and slow and steady and walking bits, and and then this year, was it this year? Was it last year? No, sorry, last year. I'm mixing up my years. Last year, then we ran the coast of Mayo over 5 days. It was I can't remember how many kilometers it was, but It was an ultra running event again, and we was doing it for the hospice, Mayo Roscommon Hospice there in Mayo and Roscommon. They built a new centre and they're building another one in a hospice. So we wanted to do something local, you know. And it was just after the second lockdown lifted, so we were kind of in between lockdown grey here. So it was beautiful, and we got beautiful weather for it as well, with a brilliant crew of people, and we had good videos. And then after that, we decided to start the podcast with one of the lads that was in the crew, Chris Gavigan, aka the Sledgehammer. We call him the Sledgehammer because when he's chatting up girls, he just sledges away at the defence. If they got a defence to the pickup lines, he just keeps sledging away, and then eventually he'll go home with the lady, and we're like, there goes the Sledgehammer. There he does it again.
Yeah, they see the real Sledgehammer then.
He's the real Sledgehammer, yeah. He's the real Sledgehammer. So then we're doing that podcast, yeah, where we've a kind of agony uncles kind of thing, because we were getting messages into the Facebook group, but a lot of people were depressed and stuff like that. So we set up this kind of agony uncles thing where people text in their problems and we discuss it. Not that we're healthcare professionals or anything, but we kind of do it in a funny way. We're not pulling the piss out of them or anything, you know, but we do it in a funny way. And we've had a few people on. We've had that guy I was telling you about, Shane Finn, the runner, on. We've had Darren Conway on. We've had a few people on. And it's been good. It's been good. I never thought I'd have a podcast, but this is life. This is life, you know.
This is the perfect time for it, because I think everyone has a podcast now.
I think so. And it's a new form. I think it's a new form of radio, you know, talk radio in a way. And it's just it's kind of reinventing what people just want to hear good conversation, you know.
I think Owen was saying, like, when I had him on, that kind of YouTube will be like Facebook was 10 years ago now. Everyone will just have their own thing going on. Probably,
yeah. That's very true. And this is the future, and it looks like the TV's companies will lose their power eventually, or else have to dramatically change. And they're doing it already. They're introducing an internet side of it, you know, which is great. You know?
Who do you think was the most underrated character in the Hardy books?
There's been a couple. I think the Boo. If the Boo got more time, he's one of the funniest fuckers. But not only funny, but he's got a lot of life wisdom to him that was never fully utilized, I thought. His character kind of changed as it went along. It evolved. But I thought if he was used a bit more, it would have been brilliant. It's, like, I always wanted one character to have their standalone episode, you know. And and they kind of did it bits and pieces with 5 or 6 of them, you know, or the four main guys. But I thought it'd be brilliant if the Boo had his own episode where you follow the Boo going around just doing things, and I just thought it'd be brilliant. Or who else? Scorpio. I don't know if you remember Scorpio. He's one of the Almira lads, I think it was. But Scorpio was, and there's a few other characters that were very underused that are very funny. Cowboy Big as Mick. Well in there, and Big Mick as well. And Cowboy was very underused in the Hardy Bucks as well. But I think that was his own doing, because he was too busy, you know. He was too busy making money, working in the boom.
Yeah, he was working away, wasn't he? True at all.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was working away, so he was too busy. So there's actually, I don't know, did he mention this when he was on the podcast? But there's actually an episode where he walks out of the bookies and he just looks surprised to see us, and he's like, "Hi lads," but actually in real life that's not acting, because we were ringing him for a few days. Well, Cowboy, do you want to be in this episode of the Hardy Bucks? He goes, "Lads, I'm not even in the county. I'm not in the town. I'm gone away, lads. I'm gone away." And then he walks out the back door, and there's shock on him. I think it's the Boys of the Summer. I think it is.
So he got him off guard there completely.
Yeah, it was the best acting he ever did.
You know, what would be your favorite episode?
What would my favorite episode be? I haven't actually watched many of them back myself. I haven't watched that many back at all.
It's hard to watch your own stuff back, isn't it?
It is hard to watch it, and you don't want to watch yourself back, kind of, you know, or the character you're playing, or, you know. But sometimes you see, I think it's an Irish thing too. We're very critical of ourselves. If we're watching something back, we're like, "Oh fuck, I should have done that. We should have done that. That bit is cut out." But I think I'll probably watch them back in a few years with a bit more perspective on them, you know. You're probably the same with these podcasts. You're probably looking back and you're like, oh, maybe I should have asked that question, and maybe I should have done that, you know.
I just click onto them when they're over and just make sure that the sound is okay, and then I throw them up and I never look at them again.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Exactly. But I think in a few years' time, you'll go back and you'll look at them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, that's the brilliant thing. That's the brilliant thing. So I like the ones with the golf course. I like them. The golf course ones. The one which I think I'm mixing up scenes and episodes. There's a few brilliant ones. I can't think. The Boys of Summer I thought was pretty good on YouTube. The interview one of the first ones on the interview ones. I think season 3 on TV was pretty good as well. I think that was pretty good. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So, but
I like the one with the concert as well.
The one with the concert was very good as well. Yeah.
Brian Kennedy.
Yes, that was brilliant. Yeah, that was brilliant. And he was a great sport as well.
Was he good crack?
I actually didn't get to meet him, unfortunately, but I wish I did meet him because he seems like he was great crack. The boy said he was up for anything, like, and they put him through the mill. They tied him to a chair and everything, and he was a great. You know, fair play to him. He's a great sport, like, you know.
I seen a clip popped up of Owen there the other day on another podcast. I can't remember which one it was now, but it cropped up, and the little clip I seen was him talking about that he was walking through Dublin and he met Brian Kennedy and he said, "How are you, Brian?" And he ignored him.
Who ignored who? Brian ignored
Owen, yeah.
He did not.
Yeah, apparently so. Now, this was a clip I seen. If I find it, I'll send it on to you.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it just came up there on the other day.
That's funny. But maybe he didn't recognize him. But maybe he didn't. You know?
Maybe he wants to put that day behind him.
Maybe he does. But no, he was a great sport. And the lad said he was great crack as well. You know, but I wasn't in that day, and I was like, I'm sorry I missed him. You know.
In terms of your own podcast as well, then we'll click onto that a little bit. So you've touched a bit on it, like. Go on ahead.
Yeah, I was trying to plug our own podcast there a good bit. So I was. That's the least thing you want is a guest that's just talking about his own podcast all the time.
Let's plug the fuck out now.
It's going well. No, it's called the Dead Hesgehogs. There's myself, Peter Cassidy, and then there's Stephen Kelly who plays Cowboy, and there's another lad called Chris Galvigan. He edits it and he makes sure the sound is okay, and he's one of the main driving forces behind it, you know. And if it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't be doing it, you know. And and Cowboy as well, I probably wouldn't be doing it. But I know it's going well. It's a learning experience too. You're learning a lot, and it's a different medium, you know. You have to listen more as well. It's not just about, like, the stand-up is like you're making jokes, and the acting is. It's difficult. The podcasts are difficult, as you find. So you might find some guests that don't talk at all, and you're just trying to pull out the chat out of them, and they're like, and
then you're realizing
cracking a mask card.
Yeah, you're like, fuck, this is only 10 minutes, you know.
Yes, exactly. And you're like, Jesus, come on, man. You know, you want to flatline the crack, you know. But sometimes but we've haven't had one of them guests yet, you know. But we've had great guests, and they're well able to talk, and it's great crack. And it's about listening too. It's about listening to podcasts. It's great. I'm enjoying them. I didn't think I would, but I am enjoying them. Yeah, it's great.
You're doing them from home at the moment, are you? Because you're away from the lads.
I am. Yeah, I'm up in Leitrim actually. I'm in Leitrim where hippies go to die. That's what Leitrim is. That's the place where Leitrim is. Yeah, it's full of hippies and English people, North Leitrim. Not that there's nothing wrong with English people, but it's random.
Yeah, different world up there. And you lads have a Patreon as well.
We have a Patreon, yeah. It's called the Dead Hesgehogs, and I think it's a $5 a month to get the videos, and they're going to be on YouTube then eventually after a couple of weeks. But we've a few bonus stuff, like there's a few private videos. Salmon's since cock photos and stuff like that.
I was going to ask about dick pics.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
But I remember doing a joke on stand-up about dick pics, And I was like, I was trying to get, I haven't worked it, but I was like, has anybody sent a dick pic? And some people put up their hands, and I said, it takes real balls to send a flaccid dick pic. So that was the joke, but I haven't worked on it yet. But imagine like sending a flaccid dick pic. It'd be kind of like, what?
What's the plan for you lads going forward? Obviously, you want to get back to doing live shows as well. It's just not possible at the moment.
Oh yeah, we want to get back to live shows. Yeah, 100%. The live show is where it's at, and hopefully keep going with this podcast, the Dead Hedgehogs podcast, and just get back and do a tour of Ireland. That's what we'd love to do. Once it opens up, and I'd love to actually do a spin-off of the Hardy Bucks just on YouTube for free. If we could do it, and get people in and start doing it. Well, we wouldn't call it Hardy Bucks, we'd call it something else, or even do something else on YouTube for free and just record it. Obviously, the quality wouldn't be as good, but I don't think people care now. You know what I mean? I think as long as the sound is good and the video is reasonable, I think people will still watch it. I think
you could do your idea that you touched on there earlier about the backstories for people. That'd be interesting.
It would be interesting. Yeah. But the only thing is, we're 10 years older now as well, so it'd be funny. It'd be a prequel.
I don't think people would care anyway.
I don't think so.
Just make sure you shave, maybe, or something. Shave, and it'll take years off you.
Yeah, maybe just shave and get hair restoration.
Listen, it was brilliant to catch up with you, man. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was good fun, man. It was good fun. Great fun. Good stuff.
Yeah. And I hope to see you lads on the road soon.